All right, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, November 25th, 2014, and this is For the First Cup with Jules, Zorie, and Lady Pitbull here on UCY.TV. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, great. Don't sound too excited.
I'm really excited. Yay!
Yay. That is a requirement to be here in the morning. Excitement.
I'm doing pretty damn good.
Surprise and alarm.
Yeah.
Surprise and alarm.
Wasn't that one of the Monty Pythons? Surprise and alarm. So, I don't know how long you guys stayed up last night watching the looting and burning of Ferguson, but I still have it on out here, and I'm watching replays from 3 a.m.
Oh, is it? Wow, did it go on that? I checked out about 11.
I didn't watch any of it. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, I stayed up until 3 and then I couldn't watch anymore. But hey, I want to say thanks to chat. We had a hip happening chat until at least then. Everyone had their own stream and chat was pretty loaded for 3 a.m. It was great.
Wow, that's amazing.
All having discussions.
Wow, so they kept going till then, huh?
It kept going after I crashed out. I don't know. I'm sure that there were many more fires. I saw them torching cars in parking lots when I was going to bed. They had punched holes in the windshields, and then and it looked like also through the passenger side. Oh, here's a picture of it from last night. And then dropped a Molotov cocktail inside the cars. But I mean, there were at least 3 or 4 large businesses that were on fire. I'm sure there probably were more.
There is 100 FBI agents there. I wonder if they were busy doing those kind of things.
I don't know.
Yeah, I seen a couple of cop cars this morning and some clips that were on fire that they had started.
Seriously, if there was 100 FBI agents there, I mean, wouldn't that stuff not be really happening? I mean, where's the National Guard? Where's all the cops and riot gear?
National Guard, I heard, came in and protected the police station, is what I read this morning. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that the FBI started the fires. I'm pretty certain that the people of Ferguson, Missouri did a pretty good job themselves. They, a lot of the people were saying that they were going up to some of the protesters and they were begging them not to do it because they all knew that it was their own neighborhood. But people were just so pissed off,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm not going to say it was necessarily provocateurs. You got stupid fucking people there too,
Yeah, when I was right when I went to bed, there was a cop car that got torched too. I was like, oh boy, I'm not.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah. Yup. Our local Channel 2 news was there, and that dude got some really nice footage. I mean, it was like he was out there, and he was right in front of the line of cops that was advancing on him, and they didn't mess with him. But it was pretty cool because he grabbed some kid off the street and stood directly in front of one of the burning cars. So it was just him and the silhouette of him interviewing this kid, and in front of the burning car. It looked beautiful. It was a beautiful shot. I was like, damn, look at that shot. That's beautiful. So there's he's like, you got a shout out for Detroit? It was pretty funny. So I don't know, man. It's just the whole thing.
I'm wondering if this Chris Cuomo or whatever his name is, that's on CNN with Don Lemon, they're on again. They were on last night. I swear to God that I bet that's Cuomo's kid. Because it sure as hell looks like him. It looks like Cuomo Jr. And I mean, his dad was in office too when I was in college. This dude's grandpa, and they all look like they're family members. I bet you it is him.
Oh, I bet it is.
They got him chomping his teeth here, trying to be a reporter of the people, running off to Ferguson. Yeah, nice play, Cuomo's.
Cuomo's.
Oh, don't even say that name. It gives me heartburn, makes me burp and my throat burn. Cuomo's. Yeah, they got tear gas last night too.
Did they?
Yeah, they were in a parking lot reporting, and all of a sudden people like come plowing into them. They're like, "Whoa, whoa!" And you just see tear gas go plow, and Cuomo's like trying to stay in the scene, and they're like, "Come on, dude!" Yeah, they're replaying that right
the
now.
Tear gas behind me! Look, that's hilarious. Oh my god, unbelievable! What? I don't know. What happened to all this firepower they supposedly brought in, though? I mean...
They did. They had them lined up like troopers all over the place, blocking roads and protecting. I mean, they definitely went overboard, I think, too soon with the tear gas. There wasn't too much going on in the very beginning, and then they started lobbing canisters into the crowds. And that's kind of when the trouble started. And, I mean, I don't know. I was watching closely, but it was pretty late at that time, so I don't know if the cop car started burning before or after they lobbed the tear gas into the crowds. But then he went all out, man.
After, I mean,
so you didn't see no white hoods anywhere?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, what happened to those guys?
There was an interview. One of Nick's guys did an interview between anonymous. They recorded it between an anonymous guy and KKK, and they sat down, and after they called the KKK out, the dude's like, well, I kind of know who Anonymous is, but Anonymous hacked the KKK website, and then they exposed a bunch of personal information, like names, social security numbers, stuff like that, and stuff got real quiet after that, and then they had a face-to-face, so...
What happened with the face-to-face?
I don't know. I watched the interview yesterday. I mean, it wasn't too much. The dude's like, well, I know who Anonymous is now. I guess we all have the same, we don't want to start any trouble. It's like, yeah. You were talking big boy before.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to use lethal force.
That isn't what I meant. He said something like, the mainstream media warped my words, which is very possible.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think that those guys were looking for a fight too.
Those guys are wankers, low class idiots. I can't stand them. They're idiots.
So the story changed when they realized how much power Anonymous really had.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. If you can give me a second, let me post for the show. I might be able to find that. I don't remember exactly where I posted it, but I know I posted it.
All kinds of crap going on. Oh my God.
I haven't seen too much of anything else. I really wanted to follow up on the Hagel story because apparently from, not the first bit of news, but then I saw yesterday afternoon it came out that Hagel was resigning at the request of Obama, so I'm not exactly sure what that's all about.
Oh man, I had the story up, and I'm like, okay, well, I pretty much I closed it out.
Why'd you do that? Since we just started the show.
Well, it was from yesterday, so I figured I had mentioned it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot more since yesterday. Did that say why he resigned?
Yeah,
don't worry about it. We'll go to whatever we're looking at. I mean, anyone have any news?
Well, I mean, if you go on... It's pretty funny. If you go on Drudge, there's a picture in Ferguson of all the cops lined up underneath a Seasons Greetings sign that's all lit up above them. It says Seasons Beatings. So it's pretty funny. Oh, my God.
Come to Riot-filled Ferguson Seasons Greetings and spend your Christmas here.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, if anyone wants to call in, they can. Phones are open 718-717-8296 if you got any opinions about what you saw last night. I have to say I was pretty excited just over how cool it was. Everyone had a different network up. They were watching a different stream, but everyone was commenting. It was really great. So I know that our listeners are educated on the situation.
Right. I found this one on how Obama dumped Hagel. He just wasn't the man for the job, President concluded. When President Obama first summoned Chuck Hagel to the Oval Office in October, he wanted to know how his Pentagon chief planned to cope with the dangerous new treatment posed by the Islamic State that had drawn the reluctant president back into war in the Middle East, not to mention getting a sense of Hagel's other plans for the final 2 years of Obama presidency. But after several lackluster, low-energy sessions, Obama was so unimpressed by the performance of his iconic, self-effacing defense secretary that he decided Hagel just wasn't the man for the job, according to a Senator administration official. That set in motion the decision to let Hagel decorous dumping on Monday by a president who almost never fires anybody and never admits it when he does. So he did pretty much fire him.
Yeah, but like that story really kind of just told the line. I'm assuming that there's a real reason why he got let go.
Oh yeah, but we won't find that out till later probably. But
yeah. When it comes out suddenly, when it gets leaked out.
Yeah, I was just wondering if anyone stumbled upon that info.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I see. I don't remember where, but somebody was saying that Hagel was the scapegoat, but I don't know what for.
Well, I mean, a couple things happens. You know, Hagel has been Department of Defense chief for the last couple years. So in that time, we've touched off everything that's going on right now, pretty much, and at least the current situation, including all the tensions with the Ukraine and Russia, the whole Syrian mess, the Iraqi mess. What's the other one I was just thinking about? The African mess. I mean, look at everything that Hagel's got going on, and Barry, I'm assuming, wants something else to have. Oh, Afghanistan. Yeah, we're pulling out, and then hidden in the immigration bill, we discover that now we're staying there through 2015. Whoa! I thought we were pulling out.
Oh my God.
You know, and so it just makes me wonder. We went from Panetta to Hagel. Wasn't it Panetta? Panetta was
Norman Panetta.
And
it says Hagel reckoned he wasn't the kind of gung-ho wartime connoisseur that Obama needed. Was a remark.
Well, yeah, and see, so that just completely reeks of there definitely were some disagreements in Babylon.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's see. Oh, there's more on this, though. It says, but Hagel also fired back. After reports began surfacing of White House dissatisfaction with his performance in the past few months, including an ominous column by Washington Post columnist David Ignatius, he dashed off an uncharacteristically sharp memo to National Security Advisor Susan Rice, slamming the administration's Syria policy as rudderless and ill-defined. I don't think he knew when the axe would fall, but he knew it was time, said a person close to Hagel. He also knows that it isn't really about him. Huh. Okay.
Of course not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, who knows what was happening in the background with those guys.
I'm pretty sure that there was probably some sort of disagreement as to what the best policy is. And Barry has marching orders that, someone's telling him what he should be doing, and Hagel was the one who was supposed to be executing it.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't want to do that.
Well, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that Panetta was around in the very beginning, the first time they tried to get into Syria. And I don't really remember what Hagel's job description was while Panetta was the head of the DOD. But remember, Panetta had been the head of the CIA beforehand.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, lots of grand chessboarding.
It is. It really
Hegel
is.
didn't want to play chess anymore. Checkmate. I'm out.
Says Panetta in Worthy Fights blasted the president for his handling of civil wars in Iraq and Syria. It's just a sideline thing here. Some highlights.
Well, it's all right. If you don't know, don't make stuff up. I mean, we'll figure it out. I'm sure if I get a few minutes, I'll dig into it later and figure out what the whole situation is. But all right, let's talk about something else. Anyone watch anything besides Ferguson?
I wasn't home all last night, so I didn't get to catch any of it. But I guess they're coming out with a pay-per-puff caffeine shot. I think that would be good for you. And you just go in on the fly. Hey, give me a shot of that. The patents are starting out on it, it said. Ever since the e-cigarette technology, now they're going for, I guess, e-caffeine.
What?
Yeah, it said exclusive pay-per-puff caffeine stick. E-cigarette boom sparks race for new patents.
Who smokes caffeine?
I know. It's like, what, they just give you a heavy dose of shot of nicotine? I don't know how it's going to work, but they say that's the direction it's going in.
It's caffeine, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
So it's not nicotine, it's caffeine.
No, caffeine.
Right.
Caffeine.
You said, how are they going to do it, though? Give you a shot of nicotine?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was still thinking about the smoking cigarettes. But, yeah. So, I don't know. It was just a little blurb that they're going in that direction. They say it's going to be another $1 million advance.
For what?
For
so you don't have
shot.
to drink coffee? And you
It-
drink a shot of...
Well,
do we have a story?
It
Instead
has
of making
electronic cigarette
pictures.
makers are racing to design and buy variations of technology that has lit the $1 million boom called a new vocabulary and prompt a backlash from health officials worried about the impact of the new smokeless devices. Research by Thomas Reuters shows that China, with over 300 million smokers, is the front runner in a manufacturer developed for e-cigarette technology. While new versions being patented include a pay-as-you-go computer assist device and others that can deliver caffeine instead. In 2005, just 8 e-cigarette inventions were described in published patents. Today, there's 650. Let's see, the original technology involving battery-powered heating systems that vaporize nicotine-laced liquid is credited to Han Lick. Let's see, okay, and then I'm looking for the caffeine part, though. Imperial Tobacco last year snapped up the patents owned by the company. Han co-founded a deal worth $75 million and is suing rivals for a range of alleged patent infringements. It's weird. They put caffeine in the title, but scanning through it, I don't see anything about caffeine in the real article.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a misprint. I don't know.
Well, they mentioned it in there, one brief sentence about some sort of consumable, smokable caffeine.
Right,
I don't know
so
if
that
I'd want to
captured
smoke
their
my
attention.
caffeine, to be honest.
I know. Yeah. So, oh wait, here it goes. A unit of MSig Inc. sells VitaSigs containing vitamins and supplements such as valerian and collagen, while a company called Energy Shisha sells a caffeine-vaporing stick. Patents filed by others included Fuma International mentioned, oh boy, I can't even say that word. Wait, let's see. Terra Docranobles. THC, the active chemical in cannabis. Oh, so you're going to get a caffeine THC puff? I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're just taking it as far as they can. So that's all there was in there about the caffeine. Yeah, I got pulled in by a title.
Vince asked if he could speak for a minute or two.
Bring him on.
Yeah.
If it rings. I don't know, Vince. I added you to the call, so. Okay. Is that Vince? Hey, Mr. Vince.
Hey, Vince.
Sorry, I've tangled up. Let me plug my headset in.
Geez, guys, there's already, there's ice on the Great Lakes already. It says earliest in over 40 years.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Vince.
Morning, Vince.
Hey.
Hey, so yeah, I was up late last night watching all that. When everything kicked off, I just wanted to jump back on Ferguson for a minute. I'm not a bit surprised. I knew this is exactly what was going to happen. I knew he'd get acquitted. And like JJ was saying in chat, they should have just let it, go to jury trial probably. But like he said also, it still would have been riots. I think a lot of people are being confused now too, because so many people, this is what they figure anarchy is, but that's not the case. There's still rules. It's just adding to it. It's making the situation worse, and it's dividing people. And like you were saying, Jules, it doesn't require somebody to come in there for co-opting burning these buildings. These people their mindset is for that. So they're not doing any favors for anybody. It's just making things worse. But that's the way it always happens. So.
And, I don't think that there might have been provocateurs there, but I don't think people starting those fires necessarily were all provocateurs. I think they were just pissed off people who've been standing in the streets waiting for the verdict. And, they were interviewing a bunch of people then walking around the streets and stuff. And they were like, we told them don't do it. This is our neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It would have been easy for them with provocateurs to just pour gasoline and shit all over the place and torch the whole city,
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess it's spreading all around the country. I wonder if they're going to start setting fires elsewhere and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I read this morning, most of the other ones throughout, like L.A., Chicago, and all that, have mainly been pretty nonviolent. But I seen a picture in Times Square. There were thousands of people.
Yeah, last night there were, absolutely.
And it was a mixture. It was black, white, Asian. It was just,
How come thousands of people didn't turn out when this 12-year-old kid got shot together on Sunday?
I know. I was wondering the same thing when I was looking at
the crowd. He died, by the way. The kid in Cleveland. He died, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's funny, because when I was looking at the Times Square one, I was thinking the same thing. Why don't they come out when kids or that mother of 3 got shot in the head? It just, people don't, I don't know.
Yeah, there was somebody that was reporting something. I don't know. I listened to so much stuff yesterday. But somebody yesterday was saying that exact same thing. There are cases like this on a daily basis. And it's really sad that this kid got shot for no reason. And he was disrespected. That was a lot of what the parents went to the UN about. That was what that whole torture case was about that I did that story on, was because they left his body laying in the street, bleeding for like 4 hours. And they were saying that was cruel and unusual and whatever. And I absolutely agree. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that happened in this case. And the fact that out of the 5 counts, they didn't find him guilty for any of them. Really? They couldn't have, at least found him guilty of one thing, But on a daily basis, there's at least one case, if not 5 cases nationwide, of something similar to this. Some sort of police brutality, some sort of unarmed kid getting shot and killed. You know what I mean? And so it really, really should be something that goes on every day, bringing it to the public's attention.
Yeah, it's like what Dr. Simon's guest one time. I mean, it was like a month or so, maybe a couple months ago. He was saying that the reason why this stuff with the cops keeps happening is because it's of what's going on on a judicial level with the judges and stuff. They're just letting them, and the prosecutors, letting them right off. No, oh, we're not going to charge them. So, and this is just another one of those. What the prosecutors decide not to do, and it just keeps mounting and mounting. It's to set the precedence for a total police state, and everybody needs to accept it because the cops are not going to get in trouble for anything anymore.
Well, I don't know if that's the case either. I mean, I think that as time goes on, people are probably going to push this. We're seeing all the international media now jumping on, talking about how horrible policing is in the United States and all these human rights violations. You think it's going to keep going on? I mean, I think that this is going to shine a light on, like, the rats in the sewer.
Well, I certainly hope that that's the case. But in the meantime, obviously, judges and prosecutors are moving forward with the agenda.
Anyone have anything to say to that?
Vince still there?
Yeah, Zorie's gone.
Yes. Yeah, I'm still here. I lost it there for a second. Not sure what happened. But I think this is a good opportunity for being responsible. Like everybody here at UCY, I think we have a good sound voice of reason here. In opposed to so many out there just spreading their fear porn. And good morning, Dan in Tennessee. It's very dangerous to propagate these ideas. It's good to get out here and burn buildings and stuff, and it goes completely against the idea of this revolution of the mind that I think we're all here are so much involved with. History shows that this sort of thing, time and time again, it just goes to destroy the people and the movement, and it's always co-opted. So getting out there and burning these buildings is not going to help, and shooting cops and all that stuff. So
that doesn't help a damn thing.
No.
There were lots of gunshots last night too, and that was one of the things that was happening. Like, these buildings were getting started on fire, and the fire department would show up, and then there would be gunshots, and they just left everything, and they left. As soon as they heard gunshots, they were out of there.
Well, they should get out of there. There's no reason that the poor firefighters got to put themselves in harm's way. That's ridiculous. I agree with that.
And all these people shooting guns up, I'm sure a lot of them, the shots were up in the air, but those bullets come down and can kill.
Well, yeah, and they did another no-fly zone last night, too, because of that, because people were shooting into the air.
That's weird. It must have been camera shots on top of buildings, then, from what I was looking at, then, because it looked like it was helicopter shots, or maybe it was a drone. Who knows? But it was definitely aerial shots, what they were showing last night.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt a bit if it wasn't drones.
Yeah, it could have absolutely been. Wow. Well, I don't know.
So were there any reports of anyone dying so far?
I haven't seen any, though I haven't actually turned the volume on the news this morning. I've just been watching shots from last night. It doesn't look like too much happened after I crashed. Still the same garbage. There was a woman that they thought was having a heart attack at one point after they had chucked the tear gas, and a bunch of people grabbed her and ran through the crowd. Actually, it was right before the tear gas. And they interviewed one of the women later, and she was screaming about the guys all dumping lighter fluid on her, which I actually saw some of those images this morning when she went down. They were spraying lighter fluid because they were getting ready to torch a car, and then the cops chucked the tear gas canisters into there. But I didn't hear if that woman made it or whatever. But I don't believe, now like I said, I haven't had volume on, so someone please correct me, but I don't believe that there were any deaths from yesterday.
That's one good thing.
It said 61 arrests.
Yeah, there were a lot of arrests, but I don't think anyone got shot and killed.
There sure was a lot of live feed, though. I'm seeing a lot of it on these pictures. It reminds me of the Watts riot. I mean, it's just like the Watts riot was People just going nuts.
Well, and you know what? I mean, I've seen worse riots. Rodney King and some of that stuff, if you remember back in L.A. in those days. That was pretty bad.
Well, that's what started off the Watts riots, was Rodney King. When they first did the first jury, they moved his trial to an all-white, upper-class neighborhood, and when they came back with not guilty against the cops, then the riots started.
Yeah, I was kind of young for that.
When the O.J. Simpson verdict came down, I was living in Sacramento, and I called in work that day. I lived right there in Carmichael, pretty close to the tracks by West Sac. But, you know, if they had found him guilty, I knew exactly what was going to happen. So, my now ex-wife lived not far, and my son was there. And so if anything happened, I was going to be there to round him up and bug out. I've been a bug out prepper for a few decades now.
My buddies were there from the band The Subhumans, and they were there to do a gig, and they were afraid to come out of their hotel room. They were scared shitless. They were like, we're not going out there, and they canceled the show and everything. I mean,
well, yeah, they were pulling people out of cars and beating them, and that one guy in the truck, but there was a lot of people in cars.
Reginald Denning, is that Denning or something like that? Isn't that right? I can't believe I remember that.
Yeah.
Well,
we ended up down in Watts. We were going to the Pike and took a different exit, and we were met by National Guard saying, you don't want to go in there, turn around. But it was scary down there.
What the hell are they? I'm looking at some of these pictures in Ferguson right now, and they're like burnt. It went from burning the cars to burning buildings. I mean, what the hell are you burning your own town down for? That's not going to solve a damn thing.
I know they were interviewed one store owner, and he was at his store looking. He goes, it wasn't like it was about stealing even. It was about destroying.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
that takes away all the legitimacy of their protest, you know?
It did. Like, totally. You're right. It totally does. Remember last week when I was saying that if nobody showed up and nobody did anything after the verdict, it would make much more of a louder statement than...
Yeah, if they just would have protested without violence, without burning buildings or looting, you know, it would have made a very strong impact on the rest of the world. But people are just going to go, yeah, well, I expected it.
Well, people are programmed to do this, is what it was. They're programmed, and they freaking, you know, hey, you're supposed to riot when the decision comes in, and sure enough, they did. So
never let a good crisis go to waste, and you know what's going to come out of this.
It just shows you how easily programmed everyone is. It's really like that chaos. What is that? I don't know. It's crowd mindset, mass mob mindset. Mass mob mentality is what it is.
I dropped some links in chat there. A couple of live streams. PM Beer, she was out in Bunkerville with me. She's left-leaning liberal and proud of it. Makes no excuses. She claims her stuff to be biased, which I'm proud of her for that. And also there's the last one I just dropped, the scanner for Ferguson. So I was listening to that last night, and the other one from the Free Thought Project. That was a pretty good live feed going on there, if anybody's interested.
On the police scanner, what kind of things were they saying? Were they just like sounding all official, or?
Well, it was just reports of gunfire and fires just the regular stuff. I just saw my friend Patty, actually. I see her again there. I see her in the live stream from the Free Thought Project. She came out from L.A. She goes to all over the country covering events. Pretty proud of her. Even if I don't agree with everything. I did an interview with her on abortion, and I didn't put it up on YouTube because I just felt like I beat her up too bad on it. I think it's funny how, the right will, they was against the kids in the immigration, and the left's against, they want them to come over here, but the right, they don't want babies killed, and the left, they're in favor of it. So I just find it really odd how people can't get it figured out, the both sides of it,
It's not like it's that difficult. I mean, we're yelling about it every day here on this network. It's not that difficult a thing to figure out, the manipulation process.
That's
yet
what it's
everybody
all about.
falls for it.
Yeah, I know. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were just discussing that yesterday up where I work. We will never, ever come together. The Republican and Democrat separation will never allow us to come together.
It's even beyond that, Zorie. I mean, having been a former lefty who is now a righty, politics has never really figured into anything that I've ever believed. You know what I mean? Like, I was never political. I always thought they were a bunch of crooks. So,
yeah, me too.
That never really kind of figured into it. But I just think that people have cognitive processing differences, and regardless of how much truth you put in front of someone, if they process the information differently, they come out with a different answer. And we could all be looking at the same thing, but all have all have different opinions as to what the best way to proceed is. And I think that people not knowing how to compromise or how to come to workable solutions from taking many different parts and trying to put them together to make something that's satisfactory to everybody is what's going to hold us back. Being in the corporate world for many years and working my way up to, running a division at one point, that's something you got to be good at doing, because everybody's got a different idea, and it can't just be your way that everything runs, because you're not going to have people working for you if that's the way it is. You got to make sure that everybody's happy and that you're taking everyone's concerns into account, and then try to craft something that is satisfactory to all. It might not be exactly what everyone wants, but it's something close, and it at least covers all the big points. But that takes planning, and that takes
a lot of communication.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that the alternative movement, unfortunately, has a hair trigger, knee jerk reaction to everything, and everyone's always got a chip on their shoulder, and that's something that I always had a chip on my shoulder, but you got to get rid of that if you want to be the peacemaker.
You have to be ready to compromise, and people just don't want to compromise.
People don't want to compromise. I'm the worst. I am the most stubborn person on the planet. You'd want to punch my teeth in if you were arguing with me.
I wouldn't argue with you, first of all, Jules, but my thought is this: you don't have to compromise as long as you base your reality on self-determination by free will, where you do no harm. And I think that's basically bottom line right there. But so many people take the thesis and antithesis to come up with the I can't even say it, consensus. By a compromise, and a lot of times that means that harm's being done. So as long as you can base your compromise on no one being harmed by your actions, I can agree with that.
Well, the thing is look at what people don't realize too is that just because you have a big delicious cheeseburger in front of you, it doesn't mean that you have to eat it all in one chomp. And that's the one thing that I'm good at is phasing. I used to do projects, very large projects, and you can't do a large project all at once. You got to do phases. There's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and you got to make sure that you build it into the plan for growth, So when you're looking at compromising, part of the compromise might be, Vince, that we're not going to get everything we want today, but phase 2, once we do these 6 other things, look at them, we're going to be able to accomplish this. And I think it could be done. And really, though everybody hates the corporate world, there's so much from the corporate world that I've learned over the last 25 years that could be applied to many different situations, including government, including some of these large disagreements that we have between like the people and the police, or you know what I mean? Like I think too many people are just quick to, dump all of their dislike out there in the open, and then no one wants to hear anything else. La 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 la. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the other side, too, like the cops don't want to hear it. They're like, well, we know if you were listening to the prosecutor or whoever he was that was announcing the decision when it first came out last night, he's like, well, this isn't what I know everybody wanted to hear, but, this is kind of how it panned out. And I know that this is still a problem. Even Obama said that, but, we're going to have to figure it out. Well, no, this should have been right there, right then and there. They should have people from the law enforcement community. I mean, if they cared and this was really an issue that we wanted to fix, that whole thing that we were talking about in Missouri yesterday, where they were trying to pass a little snippet of a bill to require professional liability insurance for cops, and then the things that we were talking about
then
yesterday.
The cops would police themselves. So that's a roundabout way, but it's addressing the issue. And I thought that was perfect, because then by doing that, the police would be policing themselves. It made so much sense to me. That was such a great idea, Jules.
Well, and then the incentive. There's got to be some incentive.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I like that analogy, Jules. If you're a vegan, take the burger off, okay, and go with the lettuce and tomato. But
like, deal with it. Don't be an asshole vegan and sit there and pout about it because you had burgers at dinner. I had friends who would do that too, and they'd come to my parents' house or whatever, and they never mentioned to anyone that they were vegetarian. And what do? And especially in the summer, we cook burgers. Don't have a temper tantrum. Don't make my parents feel bad about it. Freaking eat cheese.
Right.
Next time, I'll make sure I get the tofu burger.
Hey, when I was a vegetarian, I would eat tacos, I would eat hamburgers. I'd just take the meat out and eat it without it. Big deal.
Make the best of it.
You guys keep punning dill,
so
right? Dill pickles.
What was that?
Yeah, I keep punning dill. Deal with it. Dill pickle.
I love dill.
One thing about the cops, though, it's... everybody's heard about that blue line and stuff, and there is complacency. I have family in law enforcement, and they're not going to snitch on another cop.
No.
But my cousin, he's talked about it. He'd like to, but the next time he needed backup, nobody's going to show up.
But here's the thing, Vince. It's not snitching like we were talking about yesterday. If there was a real cost involved to every time you accidentally shot somebody, that 3 strikes and you're out, and your liability policy is going to go up $200 a month. I think you're going to be making sure your own ass is covered, that you're not going to be accidentally shooting someone on purpose.
I love that idea.
Right, and cops wouldn't stand around and watch one cop beat the other
shit out of another. Exactly.
Going up. Yep.
Exactly.
That would solve the whole damn problem, just that alone.
Well, you can't...
Hey, look at the cat dragged in.
JJ, what's up?
How do I sound?
Sound good?
You sound awesome.
So, I've got a PC and a laptop up in my living room, kind of Jew-rigged through my TV.
It's awesome. How are you?
It's working. Good. Hey, you can't accidentally shoot somebody in the woods here hunting, so... I mean, look, why? If you shoot somebody, whether you got a fucking fruity goddamn Halloween costume and a badge on or not, you should just go to trial and let a jury. You know what I mean? It's homicide. You killed somebody. There's no if you defended yourself. If it was self-defense, then you'll win. That's the way it was in the Old West, right? Wyatt Earp went on trial.
But now they go on trial in front of their peers. They're investigating.
They don't. Yeah, they get best. Well, the DA never prosecutes.
Never.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier.
I mean, I guess I do believe in the grand jury system. I mean, I obviously know now more than ever that it's a just us system, and you get what you pay for. But if you kill somebody, oops. I mean, even if you're a goddamn cop, you shouldn't be. You should be trying not to freaking kill people.
I mean, if you killed someone by accident with your car, it's still manslaughter. You still get charged whether you meant to do it or not. So
Right.
If you shoot at a deer in the woods and miss, and then 100 yards away it hits somebody else, you're going to jail.
Right.
You didn't even know that person was in the goddamn gosh darn woods. Sorry, I'm starting to talk like a trucker already.
Yeah, that's but cops don't have to do that. They never even have to face a trial.
No, and they should.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They really
It should be independent, like we said yesterday, not internal investigation.
Exactly.
Well, just put them right in the criminal court. It should be a crime to kill somebody, whether you have a badge or not.
Right.
Why
And you go to
doesn't
court.
Why don't they move towards non-lethal things, like the foam and stuff like that? If they want to contain somebody, especially, they go kill people that are suicidal, like that kid that you covered.
It happened right in my hometown, Vinny,
Yeah.
just a few years ago, right up
I
the road
remember.
from here.
Yeah.
Well, we just had one a month ago here where a guy, somebody called and
Don't
said a
kill
guy was
yourself
trying to
or
kill
we'll kill
himself.
you.
Yeah, the cops came.
What is
Every
that?
cop in the county was there, and they killed the guy.
That's
Right down
happened
the street.
twice in the last 10 years here.
Yeah.
Copicide, man.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
Well, it wasn't even pointing a gun at the cop. It was, didn't drop the gun or we'll kill you. Don't kill yourself or we'll kill you.
Right.
Here's the thing. So as Obama's coming out saying, we know that this is a problem across the country, why isn't this now being as the reset point, Obama, for a public discussion? If you really cared, right? You really cared. You got the DOJ involved in all this, right? You had criminal attorney general Eric Holder.
Because a cop just killed a 12-year-old boy
right.
for having a toy gun.
Right. When they questioned the prosecutor yesterday, there was a Q&A session after he had made some comment about, they're like, well, what could we do, to stop this from happening in the future? And he made some comment, and I thought, what a freaking cop-out. He's like, well, we can't really do that because every situation is different. Well,
That was his answer?
that was his
Here's the
answer.
beginning of the problem. Here's the problem also is it's a two-way street, and you've got whole communities of people, whole cities, whole populations of people convinced that they're being held down by, the white man.
Yeah,
The man.
exactly.
But in some cases, they're a lot more specific than the man. It's the white man.
The root of the problem is poverty.
Well, it's always making an excuse for why you can't move up. George and Wheezy didn't say that. They moved right on up. They didn't care. They weren't held down.
That's funny.
But I'm just saying, it's the same in every poor community. You can make up all the excuses about why you're poor, but you know what I'm saying? I know lots of people around here that work 3 jobs so that they won't be poor, so that they don't have to live in the ghetto.
Life is what
Not
you make
any
it.
excuse. Yeah, you do have a lot of strikes against you. I mean, we're all under the thumb of the Federal Reserve System and beyond. But you've got Al Sharpton's been down there. This thing has been brewing, and they would have been smarter. Hey, the prosecutor did. Maybe he didn't present the case that people wished, but whatever. What did he do? He said, they at least went to the grand jury. That's step number 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
in
look,
New York, they
Obama-
wouldn't even gone to a grand jury. They just would have said self-defense.
Obama went down there and said, stay the course, and stay the course meant, riot upon demand, upon the verdict. I mean, that's what that meant, and that was code for that. Everybody knows
And a lot of white people are trying to say, well, how come you didn't riot when OJ... Look, OJ went to trial, though. It's different if you go to trial and you're found guilty, and it should be the same thing. You went to the grand jury, and they didn't find enough of it. Now, you can say whatever you want.
That bothers me, though, JJ. You don't think... you guys said it right when you came on about involuntary manslaughter. You don't think that out of 5 charges, they couldn't have found something that this dude did wrong?
Jules, the difference between a grand jury and a criminal jury at a criminal trial is the preponderance of evidence and the preponderance of guilt. At a trial, the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt or beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think it is. But at a grand jury, there just has to be a preponderance. You just have to prove that there's enough evidence to look further. And they couldn't even do that.
Right, that's what I'm
That is
saying.
what
Like
I
I
don't
thought,
understand.
just the conflicting
Coroner's report.
autopsy reports and
Yeah.
stuff, that would have been enough to investigate further.
But
Yeah,
they rioted
yeah.
after Rodney King, and them guys went to trial too. So
Well,
it's whether they go to trial. It doesn't matter. They had the pimps down there.
Yes.
The poverty and the race pimps and the civil rights groups. The new Black Panthers were down there.
Yes.
I saw they got
McCain,
Yeah, the
fucking
100
gay.
FBI
Old
agents.
Democrat Party was down there.
They were all having a party down there, dude.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned in the chat room, isn't it funny how every riot for the last 30 years, they always find a picture of a couple of black dudes with 50-inch big screens running away. You know what I mean? They always find that one or two pictures of somebody whipping a trash can through a window and people running out with gear, So
Yeah, because all it takes is
never show a picture of cops
really,
shooting rubber bullets into a baby carriage.
It just takes, like, it could have been just the provocateur goes in, busts open the car window, throws in the Molotov cocktail, and then, sends the rest of these Molotov cocktails out to his little friends, and there they go. And it's
listen, I'd be willing to bet my paycheck that there are cops out there right now dressed like protesters. So it happens at every one.
JJ, it's like
FBI agents crawling around there, dude. Of course.
It's the just us system, and it's all about the verbiage and how the words in law, so-called law, are arranged. There's no way to win, and I've had a judge tell me himself at his bench that he wasn't interested in justice but the letter of the law. And when you have when you can't inform the jury, like in nullification, it tells me the whole system needs to be looked at and gone through there and just revamp it, and really have what's true and just, and not
somehow you got to take the money out of it.
Exactly, I was going to say take the dollar out.
Well, I'm with Jules. I find it hard to believe that. Look, what I do agree is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you went to a grand jury. I've been in front of the grand jury and they indicted, and I've been in front of the grand jury where they didn't indict.
You've been on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, they took the case to the grand jury. What more does anybody want? Now, people are going to say the prosecutor didn't bring the right evidence and blah, blah, blah. How many of the jurors were white and blah, and how many were black? And, well, there's like 50 or 100 people in a grand jury. It's not 12 people.
And they have power. They can get anything they want, really.
Grand jury can change a law right there on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact that there was 9 whites and 3 blacks on this particular grand jury.
So, but they're regular
There may have been 9 whites and 5 blacks in the room, but there are like 49 people on a grand jury. It's not only 12 people.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on the next grand jury.
Maybe it's different in Missouri. I don't know. But a grand jury is a group of usually like 49 people or 50 people in a room, all sworn, all have been.
Yeah, because not all of them investigate the same thing at the same time either. There's
okay,
different
I guess you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so because I'm trying to get on the grand jury.
You're right. Okay, I take that back.
Yeah, but.
My question is still, though, how is there not enough evidence that he shot and killed a man?
Right.
To warrant further investigation. Exactly.
All the pictures of his broken eye socket are fake. They're a picture of they're a picture of.
There's a video that shows
picture of a race car
driver
that hurt his. They look alike, but it's not the same guy. Yeah. Well, and I heard that he just got married. This officer he quit the force. He just got married to another cop, and he's not going to be a cop there. But the ash has already hit the fan.
So you're saying he's making bacon?
But if there's any evidence at all, anything, then it should go to trial. And there must have been questions, or it wouldn't have taken them so long to come to a verdict.
They don't have to prove a case. They just have to prove there's enough evidence to. Further their investigation to bring on a criminal indictment.
Right, and in a murder case, any evidence, anything at all, because that would leave, something in doubt. He should have gone to trial. That's
I agree.
It. Yeah.
But I agree that I think that, look, man, people have to stop killing people, for one. Cops have to stop killing people and getting away with it. I mean, if you defend yourself, then go to trial and prove it.
Well, and hit them in the pocketbook.
I think so too, Jules.
That's what hurts the most. People don't
but
like
not the taxpayer pocketbook.
No,
liability insurance.
Yes, absolutely.
Jules is right.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's the most 100%. Amazing thing I have heard yet in solving this problem. I have to admit, it never entered my mind, but they would be policing themselves without even being told to.
I just know that they, liability insurance, if you've ever looked into trying to get liability insurance for one thing or another, they're a bunch of assholes over that. Mm-hmm. And there's liability everywhere. And the fact that these guys are just like, playing quick draw McGraw and not being held liable for any of this stuff has got to end, period. You know what? You want to be a fuckhead? Go ahead and be a fuckhead, but it's going to cost you. You want to drunk drive and have an accident and get caught? Hey, go right ahead. It's going to cost you $10,000 or $20,000 and a lawyer, and you're going to lose your license. You're going to have to pay for it. So go for it.
I agree, Jules,
go
100%.
For it. Reckless behavior. Do it.
Police yourself.
That's my mantra since the start. If you act in a reckless manner, then you should be held accountable, and we don't need 5 million different laws to describe recklessness.
Right. You know what? You want to skydive? Hey, make sure you got your life insurance policy all paid up, and it includes skydiving.
Right.
That's the way it works in America with a K.
Or a KKK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the statistics showed, violence in America is at its all-time low, yet police killings of citizens is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Right there.
Those are FBI statistics, too.
Department of Justice. Yeah. Because I was on the page looking for it.
Well, someone added a stone to the Georgia Guidestones, and it looks like they're trying to play it out.
Someone again?
I use they in parentheses. But or in quotation marks, but you know what I'm saying.
But that got taken down. That corner date.
Did it?
Got smashed. Yeah.
But it wasn't taken down by the makers.
No.
Yeah, I don't know who took it down.
But the city, the community, the city, the officials of the city that took it down. I read the article.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, that was weird.
Just more. Will this spread? Yeah, there's going to be a few things that kick off here and there around the country, but I mean, what they really want is they're really trying to get this race war started.
It's true, and they've just opened up the damn floodgates down south to let it happen.
You ain't going to have to really worry about blacks, man, because there's like 20 million. Undocumented Mexicans in America, and they hate the Mayatas, man.
I think it's worse than that.
Mexicans do not like blacks. I don't know why. They hate them. They hate them, not even knowing them. And I've been beat up by, you know what I mean? I was in the youth division for youth in these facilities here in New York State when I was 12 and 13, getting just because I wouldn't join any of the gangs. So these 5% black Muslim militant Muslims, man, they used to just torment me. But I don't hate them.
What, they'd pound the Koran in your face? Read this!
Well, they hated me because I was white. And on top of just being white, I had blonde hair and blue eyes. So to me, to them, I was everything that was evil. They're taught that the blonde hair and blue eyes is what has kept them down, and that I'm an evil race, and hey, you can say what you want, but that all comes from, the Bolshevism, the left.
Latinos are taught that too. Same thing.
Yeah, they are. But I've been in situations where, I was in prison in Utah, and it was like half black or half white, half Mexican. And just a few blacks, and the Mexicans that they treated the blacks like the blacks treated the whites in places
whoever
where
is the majority
black for every one white. Yeah.
Yeah, I went
What?
to.
a whole
Oh,
lot
the
worse,
blue-eyed
too.
devil is what they used to call me. Blue-eyed devil.
I went to one
It
semester.
wasn't because they thought I was a wicked, cool and just didn't care. It was because, no, they thought I was a blue-eyed son of Satan,
Weren't
seed
you?
of Satan.
In those days, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, but no.
I heard stories.
Yeah, but no.
When I was in ninth grade, we went to the Colorado River every summer. But this year in October we went, and I went to school there for a month, and there was majority blacks, or way over white, like 3/4 blacks, and then 1/4 whites. And it was the whites that caused all the trouble. So that's usually, it doesn't matter what.
They control both groups, dude.
Yep.
That's the problem, Dodie. They control the groups. They control the SPLC, the ADL, the New Black Panthers, the whatever, the NAACP. They're all controlled by the same freaking money.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep, that's sad. Yeah. Change the subject here for a second.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I really got pulled in when the news announced something as if it was happening today. This news guy, he's saying, well, the verdict's in. The committee has found there was no wrongdoing in Benghazi, and playing it off as if that was a news break from last August, and they were playing it like that would be clearing Hillary and stuff. And I was going, wow, because Gowdy has a big investigation going on. But then I caught right in the middle where he goes, yeah, well, there's a select committee still investigating, but it's nothing. And he went on, and I went and found a clip that said, Gowdy, it's still going on. He's got witnesses coming forward that were afraid to come forward before. They're really trying to bury this for some reason in the news. And, when he said that, because somebody told me, yeah, they came in with a verdict that there was no wrongdoing, I just thought, but that was the one committee that did that. There's still a committee going on into Benghazi. So, it's so easy, even for us, to be drawn into something, just by the manipulation of the news.
They won't find anything. I mean, Benghazi was how they were, getting
bringing the
ISIS
guns
going.
in and
That's
stuff.
how they started ISIS, was through
Right.
Benghazi.
Well, that was yesterday. We
guns.
played that clip, and it
Right.
totally made it sound like they have now concluded out of 7. Remember, we listened to that 7 different investigations that there was no wrongdoing whatsoever.
Which means that they got everybody has their plausible deniability.
Liability, yep. They
That
all got a
is-
nice package.
They made it sound like it was concluded, but it is not. There is still a select investigation going on, and they can even summon the president and make him speak
Yeah,
in
they'll
front of
find
this.
nothing, though, Dodie.
No,
No,
he's
I
squeaky
just
clean.
got a feeling that this is gonna. I'm hoping, I guess, but man, I just got deflated yesterday when I heard that. Until I went and listened to it 2 or 3 times, and then caught. They said it very quickly and on. That there is a select committee going on.
You know what they say about hope, right?
I know, but
You can hope in one hand.
I know. I don't care. I still got it. I won't give it.
Oh,
up.
I agree. Listen, Dodie, I love you, man,
I
and
love
and it's because of that fact right there, because you still have faith, and so do I.
I know you.
Maybe not to the same degree as you do, but
Speaking of love and Dodie, does everybody know Dodie kissed me?
Oh, stop it.
Under the mistletoe.
He tricked us, and there was no mistletoe.
Yeah, did you see there's going to be drone mistletoe? I caught a
Oh, no.
story the other day. Yeah, my daughter thought it was hysterical. I was like, it's not funny. We
No.
don't
Mistletoe.
incorporate drones with Christmas and mistletoe. No thanks.
And
oh
he's
dear
wrong
Lord.
to stick the star in the tree.
Well, and I know in California, since they're trying to call pedophilia just a sexual orientation, soon they'll have Jolly Ranchers and drones.
Hey, in my defense, Dodie, anybody who's not willing to trick a pretty
Get
girl
the
for a
pe-
kiss really
Get the
don't like
pedophiles
kids,
out of
right?
the trees. Give them a drone.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you got to think of the squirrels, you know.
Think the squirrels.
Just don't give a squirrel coffee, that's all.
That's right.
Yeah, don't let them have a puff of caffeine.
Yeah.
I wonder if squirrels eat coffee beans.
I wouldn't be able to answer that. But again, Dodie, there will be absolutely no wrongdoing found. And you know that.
No, I don't know. I have faith in Gowdy. That's why I was so pissed and bummed yesterday when I thought he had given up. But then
So
when
who's
I
the
found out he
Republicans going to run against Hillary Clinton, is what I want to know.
Yeah, I know.
Jebby.
Jeb.
It's going to be Jebby.
They're all...
The reason being is because Jeb's got a Mexican wife, which there's
Can
the...
still play the race
look,
war
the
again.
first lady is Mexican. No more border at all.
Yeah, that's, you know what? That's actually pretty well set up, too.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they're setting up. I can see it all, like, plain as freaking day.
Yeah, I can't see no way will Hillary get elected. I don't care how many people they say are behind her. I don't believe it. I don't believe
just
she'll
too much
get it.
dirt out there on her.
But they gotta run the cow up against the lesser evils.
I'm sure she'll be the Democratic, nominee.
She'll play the patsy again.
They don't want her. They want Jeb Bush in there for the reason that I just stated. And
remember, Hillary is a grandma
I don't think there's
now.
any chance in hell of Democrat winning the presidential, unless
it was like running Obama with non-citizen. It's a big joke, and the bigger the joke, the bigger they laugh, I think. So to have another Clinton Bush run for office, wouldn't that be the
And then we'll get mad at him,
joke?
and then we'll have a Democrat, and then we'll get mad at them, and then put in.
Hey, that's how it's set up perpetually in infinity.
Yeah,
the Royals
just constantly voting somebody out. But again, does it matter? Where there's never anyone worth voting for to begin with.
Ever. Nope.
The whole process has been tainted, and
25 seats went unopposed this last election. That means, people don't even want to run anymore. They just stay in office because there's no one going up against them. 25 seats unopposed.
That's pretty hardcore. That's a lot.
That's a lot, yep.
Is hope and change.
Yeah. I was going through all the presidents that we've had, since the beginning. And it's amazing. We don't need no vice president. You know how many times that seat was vacant the whole 4 years? I mean, or half the year was vacant. It's
vacant now.
Yeah. It might as well be, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, we got Jesse Jackson live on CNN right now from Chicago talking about... can I pull myself in? Hold on. We might even be able to get this. Hold on. I got my old capture card out. Cable capture card. Jules, where am I? And put it onto my PC so I could have the cable come in. So the TV is playing on my other computer.
Oh, wow. Wow. You could tap into, this live stuff on there, huh?
Yeah, but...
Jules, that's awesome.
Calling me? Why isn't it calling me? See, that's a problem. It's not calling me. I'm added. Do you see that? And it's calling, except nothing's ringing. I don't see it anywhere. So maybe if I hang up, hold on. Let me hang up on myself. Maybe it'll show up as missed call, and then I can connect. No.
No, it won't let you join?
Come on. Hold on. Am I offline? Maybe that's why.
JJ, where was that picture taken in your profile? That looks killer up there.
Which one?
You're looking over into a canyon,
on
a motorcycle.
One with my poker face shirt on.
Yeah, that's from 2011.
Yeah, that was the
Grand Canyon.
Oh, I thought
there too, Vince.
After I dropped off Vincent.
Yeah, after.
Yeah,
I went to the North Rim later, but JJ and John and JJ's daughter, they went on a nice little trip after dropping me.
I love the Grand Canyon.
That's a great picture too, huh?
Yeah.
It is.
Freedom, which side are you on?
Here, you want to hear to Jesse Jackson? He's on.
Okay.
Let's hear him.
Yeah, hold on. Let's check this out.
It's here on CNN.
Thank you, Doc.
We'll be right back.
Gotta mute your mic while you're doing it, though.
All right, dope. That was it.
Oh, that's cool, though, to know that works.
Yeah, I just thought about that. I was messing with it last weekend. I had this. Oh, my God, this thing is sold. It doesn't do HD, but still, it works all right. You just bring the cable in and then plug it into your USB, you know?
You can't hear 1080p.
No, you can't hear 1080p, right? Doesn't matter. But I had my cable modem out here, so I put a splitter on, and I was like, "Hey, look, I got cable on my computer."
Cool.
So yeah, I sat out here last night on the one machine. I had the live streams going, and on the other, I had CNN with all their coverage on the two computers. So it was great.
That is cool. Fantastic.
It's like a newsroom with all the different channels.
Yay,
I know, and the
Jules
other desk
newsroom.
is all the radio network running.
Sweet.
I've got it. I'm sitting here in front of my 40-inch TV with my computer hooked up to it. It's actually pretty cool as a monitor.
Does it come
40-inch
out
monitor?
real clear or pixelated?
Yeah, because I have a good video card
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
that supports HD. So yeah, with a laptop, but I still.
You got to sit
It's
like
just
10
temporary
feet back.
because it's so
Yeah.
close.
Feet.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
Because
you
my
can't
eye,
sit real close to them.
I have to. I can't see. My eye is getting so bad I can barely see out of it anymore.
Oh no, is that the palm frond eye?
That's the palm front.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That
no.
thing really did that much damage?
Yeah, the steroids aren't working anymore.
Oh no.
They told
Well,
me that they would only work for so long, and then it would just slowly go away.
Deteriorate, yeah.
Does it hurt you?
Yes, that's the problem because
Put aloe vera gel in it.
it's inside the eyeball, and my
Oh,
eye's
very
always
good.
red. It looks like I got pink eye on one side of my head, but I don't. It's blood, but it is pressure on my eye, and it freaking hurts.
God, try and put
Feels like I'm
it-
just constantly feel. I don't know. Anyhow,
Did you have those shots in the eye?
yeah, steroid
Yeah,
drops.
my
They
friend's
they
going
used
through
to
that
work.
now.
They don't work anymore.
Yeah, my friend. It happened. It's over the last 3 years. Now she's almost completely blind, and the shots just aren't doing it anymore. Sad.
It's only one eye. I can still see out of my other eye.
They have so
Good
much
eye.
with laser
Got a
surgery
good
now.
ear, a good eye now, and a good knee, and a good
Hey, well, how about your back? That's most important.
No, I don't have a good back. If I had two, I could say I got one of them's my good one, but no, I only got one back and it's bad.
a bacchiotomy.
I don't know. It never doesn't hurt. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days.
Oh,
a week.
getting old. Getting old ain't for sissies.
No, it ain't. No, it's an injury. It's an actual injury, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. But again, that's my own. Everybody has a hard luck tale to tell, you know, and it's just the burden I have to.
Would laser surgery help him out, Jules, you think?
They told me that there's nothing that can be done.
You know what, though? I had a friend just recently who had laser surgery that fixed an astigmatism, and that was something that in the very beginning I believed. I mean, I know for contacts, I have an astigmatism, and for contacts, there was only one type of contact I could ever get because there was only one company that made them.
Yeah, the toric.
Yes, the toric,
I have
exactly.
the same thing. Yeah.
And I thought that LASIK surgery would not fix an astigmatism, but my friend just had his eyes like all totally fixed in one weekend, and he will never have to wear glasses again. I was like, holy crap. Though no one's ever going to spray a laser into my eye. It just is not going to happen. Hey, wait, check this out. So we got this back up again. They came back from break, and I don't know if it's live, but it's daylight now.
What you have to say. The confrontation quickly turns physical when Brown allegedly punches Wilson in the face through the car window. Wilson, who was 6'4", 210 pounds, says he felt dominated by the 6'6" teenager. When I grabbed him, the only way I can describe it is I felt like a 5-year-old holding on to Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, that's how big he felt and how small I felt just from grasping his arm.
You shouldn't be
A lot of confusion, shouting, and shattered glass. Wilson says Brown's face contorted with anger, that he looked like a demon. Then, in the moments leading up to the gunfire, Wilson testifies he was punched several more times and told Brown, "Get back, I'm going to shoot you." He, Brown, grabs my gun and says, "You're too much of a to shoot me." The gun goes down into my hip, and at that point I thought I was getting shot. I can feel his fingers try to get inside the trigger guard with my finger, and I distinctly remember envisioning a bullet going into my leg. Wilson says his gun went off twice inside the car. That's when Brown ran, and Wilson went after him. At some point, Wilson says Brown turned and charged at him. I keep telling him to get on the ground. He doesn't. I shoot a series of shots. I don't know how many I shot. I just know I shot it. Wilson then says, "I know I missed a couple. I don't know how many, but I know I hit him at least once because I saw his body kind of jerk."
Oh, look, and I can pause. Let me see if I can stop that echo. I did. I can pause, guys.
That's awesome. Why does that sound contrived to me?
I'll be able to do the same thing. I'm listening to you on my TV right now. I took my headphones off. Is there an echo?
No, there isn't.
Oh, sounds good. Hey, you guys.
So once I get my mixer up here, I'll be able to do the same thing. I'll be able to play live TV too.
Sweet.
Anyway, did you hear he said he hit him at least once? That was pretty interesting. And his face contorted and he looked evil, and I felt like I was being attacked by Hulk Hogan.
He knew he was hit once, and then his body.
Go ahead.
I saw him jerk, and that's how I knew he was hit. It just sounds contrived to me.
Vincent.
Hey, you guys check out JJ at Dixie Rock up in St. George, Utah.
Yeah, why'd you post that? Well, I guess that's better than my Daisy Duke picture.
Man, that's a cool pic, Doug.
Should I play any more of this or no? This was his grand jury.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me unmute.
And the face that he had was looking straight through me, like I wasn't even there. I wasn't even anything in his way. And as you know, Michael Brown died at the scene. Let's talk more about Officer Wilson's testimony because there were other witnesses there who testified as well. HLN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson is with me, along with CNN commentator and legal analyst Mel Robbins. Mel, you have been poring over the grand jury documents, and you found something very interesting.
Yes, and it's something that I think the entire country needs to look at and needs to understand, and that is we can take a look at what Darren Wilson said, but the one thing that you cannot dispute is what physical evidence says. And the physical evidence in this case corroborates what Officer Wilson says. And in fact, I found a piece in the transcript that I think is extremely important. It's on November 21st. It's on page 87 of the transcript. It is during a time when a detective, the one who investigated the shooting, is questioned not for the first time, but for the third time. He is asked for almost 100 pages, questions by the grand jury as they attempt to establish what happened. And they ask him this, which I find to be extremely important. They say, so, as far as physical evidence, we have the blood on the ground that was about 21 or 22 feet from where Michael Brown ended up. So we know for a fact that's a minimum distance he might have advanced from eyewitness testimony. The officer then confirms that, yes, based on the physical evidence, what we know to be true is that Michael Brown advanced at least 21 feet toward the officer, which is exactly what the officer said and exactly what the witnesses said. The grand juror isn't done. He then goes on, or she goes on page 88 and says, wait, so if I did the calculation, that was 21 and a half feet? Yes, sir. So what this is telling us is that the grand jury was focused on corroboration of what happened. And we've got blood evidence that shows at the scene that Michael Brown traveled away from the officer and then traveled back toward him at least 21 feet. That is what 3 witnesses have said. That is what the officer has said.
So let's talk about the law now. Okay. So if an officer tells you to get on the ground and you turn around and you come back toward the officer, according to the law, what is the officer able to do?
All right. This is where it starts, Carol. When Darren Wilson testified, he had to do 2 things in accordance with the law to convince that grand jury that what he did was lawful. What are those 2 things? The first thing he had to demonstrate was that he was an imminent threat, that he was an immediate fear for his life. That's step number 1. How do you do that, and how did he do that? He did that in a couple of ways, apparently, according to what the grand jury believed. He did that through what we just heard, the clip that you just played in terms of what happened, and he also represented, Darren Wilson did in his testimony, about the neighborhood itself. It's a drug activity neighborhood. It's a crime neighborhood. Now, is that proper or appropriate? That was his thoughts. But why it's appropriate to him is because it goes to his state of mind. Darren Wilson then, Carol, mixed that, his impressions about the neighborhood and the prior activities with the neighborhood, about the incident itself, the event itself, and the fact that, according to Darren Wilson, that Michael Brown was approaching him, advancing towards him, looking like a demon, having a crazy look in his eyes, not responding to commands to get on the ground. Did it happen? Did it not happen? There are 70 hours of testimony here, we have to understand, in addition to 60 witnesses who testified. But then after you get through the immediate threat that Darren Wilson had to convey, you have to then convey to the grand jury, Carol, that his actions were reasonable, that he acted reasonably under these circumstances to engage in the actions he did. And apparently, according to what the grand jury, decision that has been reached, he did that by demonstrating that he acted as any reasonable officer would do in like circumstances, and that's a Supreme Court standard.
And the other important point, and what you found in the transcripts was fantastic. The other thing to point out also in those transcripts are 2 other witnesses who heard the officer tell Michael Brown to get on the ground, or don't move or I'm going to shoot you. Other witnesses heard the officer say that, and I think that's a very important point as well.
Well, I guess what we see happening here is when you isolate the analysis just on the grand jury. I understand that there are all other issues that we need to discuss, ranging from the timing of the decision, ranging from the response to the protesters, ranging from the historic wounds that are really bubbling up to the surface here, and the need to address the militarization of the police. But if we take a laser focus and we look at what this grand jury did, it seems evident when you take the time to actually read the transcript. What you will see is a grand jury that is looking for factual and physical evidence to corroborate what happened. And
I want to stop for a second. Hold on. Is Zorie still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So you've been on a grand jury. What's interesting about this?
No. I'm trying to get on the grand jury. I didn't
get it. So you've never been on. Have you studied them?
Yeah, I have been.
So what do you think of what she's saying? I mean, I'm trying to understand how they had 60 witnesses, did she say?
Right. Yeah, I didn't know they had that many. And another thing, why aren't they bringing up the other autopsy?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that in any of the conversation in mainstream. Because wouldn't that have, really, right? Isn't that what you have to do is show doubt?
Right, and they have to show the grand jury all the evidence that they have. Everything they have to give up. So why isn't that being mentioned? That shows the opposite of what the coroner's report said. So, it just doesn't sound right to me because they're leaving a lot out. It's like the media's propaganda. They're going to put it all in the way that they want.
Right, whatever's convenient for their side of the story is being reported.
If I ever had a chance to do it, I would spit in Al Sharpton's face or Jesse Jackson. But this is a symptom of a larger problem, man, and that's the way our cops are trained.
And did you hear? Oh, he took in account the area he was in. Well, then why was he working in that area if he was so scared?
Yeah. Right, or where was his backup or his partner? Right. Why is he a cop?
That's why, look, man, I've always said this. Police should live in the neighborhoods that they police. They should know the people.
That's right. Like they used to in the old days. You walked your beat. You knew
When I was a kid, every cop in town knew me. They knew my dad. They knew my mom, my sisters, my grandma, and grandpa. You know what I
mean? They knew you by your first name.
Yes, they did.
They knew your middle name.
Right?
You know,
they knew your number, too.
They bought you Christmas gifts.
In some people's house, you have the little lines as you grow up, how tall you are. Down at my local police stations, there's little dates like 1982, 1984. Jim was here, 1985. Jim was here.
Oh my God, that's cute.
You can see my progression. No, I'm just joking, but it's true.
Oh,
I think this whole thing is a big distraction from something else.
Well, Hagel stepping down. I'm telling you, there's something really big there. Hagel stepping down.
Amnesty, Hagel.
As all this crap is going down in the Middle East right now, and he was instrumental in helping tip all that off, and now he's just leaving?
Right.
Yeah.
That's not. And I saw maybe by the beginning of the year he'll have a replacement. What?
He was asked by the president
to step down. I know. Yeah. And we got all this nuclear shit going on. They're all getting caught cheating and cheating on their tests. And now we're doing this huge nuclear upgrade. Did you see that? Spending millions of dollars to upgrade all of our nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And there was this big news article about Chinese trying to hack into our infrastructure, and I'm like, wasn't last year that we had Chinese, Russian, U.S. infrastructure drills going on?
Right.
Where they're
warning big time.
The whole thing's a freaking joke.
Yeah, they're
Israel,
coming.
Somebody mentioned Israel. Israel's getting ready to start massacring people again here. Mark my words, before the end of the year or just after.
Yeah, they announced more settlements.
They're threatening Iran, too.
No, nobody brings up the fact that the Saudis behead people every day almost.
Yeah, they all do.
They just did again.
Mm-hmm.
But not it's not regular people. It's the same thing as in the United States. It's not the regular people. It's our leaders, and it's our governmental leaders and our religious leaders. Those are the people that...
It is. It's not the common man. It's their governments. Like us. People hate us, but it's because of what our government is doing.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, no, it's not because of what your government does, because you don't do anything about it. Motherfucker, you don't do anything about your government.
No shit.
Don't blame me for what my government... I don't agree with it. I'm on record.
I'm on record.
That's right.
The thing is,
definitely on record.
The thing you gotta do is Google JJ Inc. and then any word,
there you
and
go.
it'll come up.
Well, didn't I Google something the other day and I came up with some really oddball JJ
oh no!
show? Yeah, and I was like, why is that out there?
You don't have to wonder what my opinion is. Just Google me.
Google RMS syndrome.
Yeah, you do that.
That's what I like. That's my favorite.
So, whatever.
Well, here's the thing.
Ready to circle the drain.
Somebody actually called in. Nick last night did a live call-in show at 11, so it was about an hour after they had read the whether or not they were indicting Wilson. And there were a lot of phone calls and people who had stuff to say, And anti-media had really been kind of keeping up on, all the live streams and the whole skirmish between the KKK and Anonymous and, some of the things going on in the streets. Huh?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't? I'll have to send that to you. But nothing ever came of it. It was just kind of more stoking of the fire. But here's the thing, this one guy calls in, and this is what I've been saying all along. We have all these different factions, and a lot of us, regardless of what faction we're in or belief of, what our obsession is as to what's wrong with the world, and if we fixed it, it would make things better, right? We all have an obsession that we focus on, let's say. That's our red button issue that woke us up, that pisses us off, whatever. That's what drives us, right? But oh shit, I'm losing my point now. So the guys, all these people were calling in last night And seems to be there are a lot of people out there that think that it's time, man. It's time. There's so much corruption, and I am not going to argue with that in any way, shape, or form. All right, I've about had it. I think they all need to be fired. You know.
By the way, I was just kidding about Googling.
Yeah, don't Google me. Shit, I just Googled myself.
Google looking.
Like, don't Google me. Nope, I said don't Google me.
I mean, there's pictures of me. There's mug shots of me on the internet, so don't be really careful. You can
I
find.
seen them.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys,
they're
I
not
got to
very
jump out.
tough.
I'm going to get ready. I'm going to be listening here in the background. I'm headed out the door in about 30 minutes. So, hey,
right, then.
thanks, Jules. You're awesome. You're my hero. JJ, you are too. Wendy and Dodie, you guys definitely are too. We got so many great people here, and I'm proud to be a part
Take care,
of it.
Vince.
Thanks,
Love
Vince.
y'all.
Safe
Thanks.
out there.
All right, thanks, Vince.
Drive
Bye-bye.
fast and take chances, brother.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, one of the guys called in last night and said that they were pissed off because they've been watching their news feed for a long time, and they're like, you guys seem to think that if stuff touches off across the country in this across the country in this nation, that it's going to be like a walk in the park, and it's not. And you were saying that other people are saying, well, how come in the United States you guys just sit and watch them do everything? And you said, well, you guys don't do anything either. But actually, over in a lot of the other countries, whether or not it was CIA stirred up or not, go over to the Middle East. They've had a lot of revolutions, and I'm going to tell you what. Go look at what the country looks like afterward. People here.
I gave 45-minute speech saying the same thing. You people that are just dying for a frickin' revolution and blood in the streets, why? You don't have to look any further than around the world to see what it's going to look like if that's what you're dying to have.
Look at Iraq.
Well, look at any of them.
Look anywhere. Look at Guatemala. Look at Honduras. Look at Panama.
Hey, look at Ferguson.
Yeah.
Last night, just with a tiny little drop, and then multiply that times 1 million, or how many ever people we have in this country. I mean, shit isn't going to be pretty, and
How many people have been where somebody's shooting a gun at them, period? They don't know. They go by TV, by the movies they see.
I truly believe that we should be finding solutions such as requiring liability insurance, firing all the ones who aren't doing their jobs. You know what? Why isn't this ISO 9000 certified for our government? Okay, here's your job title. Here are your job requirements, and you must do all of these items to successfully do this job. Here's your quarterly work review, and here's your salary range. You know what I mean?
And it's all in the public's eye.
Yes, all of it. It's all tracked, databased. He's going to have his quarterly, your senator or congressman's going to have his quarterly work review, and we're going to have to take a look at all the issues, right? I mean, you have projects that you work on, and then you have markers, timelines, right? You have a Gantt chart. Here's what needs to be done.
We don't hold any of them accountable.
There isn't. It's accountability for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not like they can't say that, we can afford to pay our officers more so they can afford stuff like this. Well, how about divert some of those civil asset forfeiture funds over there?
I know, man.
$3 billion.
Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
Exactly.
I mean, my taxes just went from 62 to 67 in 1 year.
Oh shit! Because you got
$500.
Your siding did it, JJ. That's what happens.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to do the other half of my house because I don't want them to raise my taxes, but they already did, so I guess I have to finish siding. I was always told as long as you don't finish, they got to wait till you finish, but no, they don't. I started out front. The value went up right then.
Yep. Wow, that sucks, man.
Amazing.
I've always said.
And I just got a letter from my lawyer saying that some other scumbags lawyers want to come out and take pictures. And I was like, hey, you know what? If they come out here and trespass, man, shame on them. Yeah. Anyone's welcome to come to my house and knock on my door or call me in advance. But if I said that they do not want me to catch them trespassing on my property.
Yep.
Well, it's not your property because you have to ask permission for everything you do on your property. That's what's always gotten me. I've never wanted to own property because you don't own it in this country. You want to build a shed? Oh, wait, you got to go jump through hoops and get permission, even though it's supposed to be your land.
You do. I've always been a guy that begs for forgiveness later on, though. So well, listen, laws are selectively enforced, and for some of us, they're selectively obeyed. Okay, that's all I can say. Life has risk. Okay, guys, it's risky. Listen, I was by the time I was 13, 14 years old, I was already institutionalized. You know what I mean? So up until I was 30, I spent so much, time in and out of this freaking system that you just got to do what you want, and just know in advance, man. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, or don't, everything you do has risk, whether it's raking your roof or, what have you. So don't let none of this paralyze you, is all I'm really saying.
I agree.
Do what you want. Everybody, including the old church lady, selectively obeys. If they think something's ridiculous, then they treat it in that manner, whether it's a law, a rule, or what have you. And so don't let any of this paralyze you from enjoying, the one gift that you got, and that is, 60, 70 years. Pretty soon that'll be up, and you'll be like, and then it's too late to have regrets.
That's right. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Amen.
Thank you, preacher JJ. That was great, though. It's true. Very true. You got to be happy. You only have one time through.
Yeah, unless you're, a rock.
Come back as a dog or something.
Or Dick
One night, my dad, we always joked with him that he wrote his own epitaph. My sister was doing a school project back years and years ago in the 80s. And so she walked around with my dad for a whole weekend and fed him beer and videotaped him.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So one of the clips that came out of that, we told him we were going to put it on his tombstone, and it was something like, "You're only on this earth for one time." I don't remember what the next little segment was, but at the end he says, "Once you're gone, you're only going to be pushing daisies." That's it. That's the whole shot. That's the whole show. And he's right, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. You're not going to get out of this alive. I don't care what you do.
Exactly. So listen, and my whole outlook is when when they put me in the ground, I don't want them putting this body with a shiny new looking cover. I want that shit to be old with patches and zippers and stitches with one eye hanging out.
Yep.
I want my body to juice the hell up.
I want to show
I want that shit to be the end of the line. I used it.
Not go out nice.
I'd be disappointed if I didn't have a couple of broken legs and we were having this discussion the other day about cremation, and I was like, listen, man, I don't really care. If you got, my wife was like, well,
but you're gone.
I was like, no, I don't want to be cremated. I want you to cremate me. Don't send me out and then have a party with my ashes. You know what I'm saying? Cut down a bunch of trees and chop it up into firewood and cremate my ass.
On the fire.
Have a fucking keg party, get Poker Face to play.
Yeah.
And
do a funeral pyre? Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Yeah.
Fire.
I'm like a roasted pig.
Yeah, and you watch him going
just
up
like
in
a pig
smoke.
roast.
Up in
It's
smoke.
like a pig roast. When you're done, you just fill in the hole.
Yeah, I can see it. They throw you on the fire, and then we just see you drift up in smoke.
Yeah, you could have a Viking.
Oh, you'd
funeral.
probably smell me for a long time.
It'd
be really nasty. You'd have to really love me to fucking participate, I'm sure.
Well, we'd have to burn you with hemp branches.
Yes. Well, some at least.
Smell good.
Well, I don't want you to do the job half-assed, so cut some trees down. I mean...
Oh,
Yeah,
geez,
but
how
yeah,
did we get here?
there should be lots of cannabis and hemp there present.
That's right.
Because there was in my body. Hell knows. When my blood starts to boil, man, it'll be like a vape.
Yeah. Everybody could get high off of your fumes.
Yeah.
Snorting JJ.
Funeral palooza. Hell yeah, man.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh my god.
Well, that's a long ways off, JJ.
Yeah, I'm 40.
Yeah.
I'll be 47 in December, and I'm
That's a
pretty
good
confident
age.
I can say. I thought I was going to wait till I was 50 to say I've lived half my life, but you know, I may
I don't
have.
know. You've changed so much. I think you're going to be around us for a long time.
I think I got for at least 40 more years. And,
Yeah, at
I'm not
least.
really too worried about it.
December what?
I told my wife 30 years ago when we first started dating when I was 16 that I would die in a hail of bullets. So I guess it doesn't matter how healthy I am at that point.
Yeah, JJ's birthday's December 19th.
Yes, it is.
Aha.
Oh, nice. Happy almost birthday.
You sent me a card one year, Wendy, and Dodie
No.
did also.
Yeah.
That's right. I should send
Yep,
you another
2
one.
years
now.
ago.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll
Oh, you
get
should.
another
came
one.
and
I
I
know.
still have the bumper
participated.
sticker. It's in my Camaro.
Oh, that's cool.
No frickin' fracking.
No freaking fracking. That's right. That's great.
So where do we go from here?
You know, that just brings me to one point here. One thing that I want to mention, because yesterday I was like, well, yesterday was when I realized I could hook my computer up to the TV, so I was, admiring myself in full screen. And I came across my last show for Oracle, and I posted it on my Facebook page, and I guess what I really wanted to say was just all the freaking amazing people I've met because of my involvement. All the people that are listening and hanging out with me right now, I've known, and it was a direct result of this. I've become a different person. So I guess I can never stress how much I love all you guys and all the people that are listening to us right now, because you're all my friends.
Aww.
Hey,
love
you
you
brought
too.
me in here, JJ. I mean, I remember the first day I hit on that radio show, and you were there, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah, you brought me in here too, dude.
This is
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I brought a few people here actually. I've that's what
I was
do.
your one listener for a while there when you moved
were.
to 8 a.m. The one chatter, me and you and chat at 8 a.m. bright and early Monday.
Funny.
Yeah, it picked up though eventually.
It did.
But that
Once
was good.
everyone
Hey,
got
listen,
used to your
I
time
sucked
slot.
back then, so it was hard to listen to me. And so I admire anybody who did. You know what I mean? You're more a man than me. I did some shows that must have sounded like ice picks coming into your ear.
Well, I always had headphones on, so you could just kind of slip it off the ear a little bit. I was just kidding.
Well, anyways,
Yeah,
I did eventually. I think I posted a show from Orion. Once I started doing 3 shows a week, I really started getting better. But when I was only doing one show on Sundays, like my first 5 or 6 shows were horrible.
I used to listen to all those.
Just because
I remember
was so
when you
nervous,
went
not
from-
because I wasn't,
You had Sunday, and then you picked up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, didn't you?
yeah,
At
because
8.
John Preston just flaked, just stopped.
All right, I remember.
Remember?
Some days he just wouldn't even show up.
Well, he just plain stopped. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'll do them guys a favor. And I started doing those 2 days. And then I started to really enjoy doing it. And you could tell.
Yeah.
But then I listened to my last show from Oracle and some of my shows from UCY. And, it's a seasoned, hardcore battle-proven
Battle
voice
hardened.
actor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, you definitely know, you got it down when you can come out 2 seconds before air. Log in and, do a 2-hour show.
That's awesome.
Sock on, I'm rolling a cigarette with one hand, trying to drink some coffee with the other.
And play a clip.
Yeah, and play a clip.
Now, Jay, now you got a 40-inch selfie you can look at.
Well, yeah.
Just
I was a little bit playing around, but
Hey, I got a question.
Kind of
Here's
fun.
something else that someone asked a question about during the press conference of the prosecutor yesterday. And he said yes, but then I didn't hear anything else about it. You know, there is still like a federal investigation that's going on over Ferguson, and that has not been settled. And though like a grand jury not indicting him, I mean, I don't know if that evidence, if that is allowed to sway this federal investigation, but you got to imagine it will in some way, shape, or form. But what if, with some miracle, the feds find wrongdoing? Yeah, like then what?
Well, then they can press charges. He hasn't been charged with anything yet, so it wouldn't be double jeopardy or anything. He would have to go in front of a
it'll
jury.
be a civil rights, a federal civil rights case, probably.
Well, remember,
And then
too,
they'll
the
probably have
UN.
a civil suit also.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I wondered.
I said AJ. OJ was found, was acquitted
Guilty
in criminal
with
court,
the
but
civil.
he was held liable in civil court.
Right.
Right.
Makes you wonder why that chick just married Wilson. I thought that the instant I thought I heard them say that at dinner,
She's
I was
a cop.
thinking to myself, yeah, but she's going to be held financially responsible for anything that he gets himself into now. I wouldn't have been
Well, is
tying
she-
my ass to that.
But is she because she married him after the fact?
Well, if he gets sued tomorrow,
Well, yeah, that's true.
you know, they'll be married.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't think of that.
Yeah, well,
Maybe they're forced to get married.
maybe.
I know.
Do they still do that? Do they still have shotgun weddings?
I don't know.
Probably the KKK. It's just, if it wasn't for real people getting hurt, and the whole thing's a freaking joke.
Yeah, pretty much.
All a freaking joke, except for the fact that people are being injured and caused
And property's being destroyed.
damage.
Here, I found some
I mean, I'm
detail.
talking about the whole world, because at this point, knowing what we know, it doesn't even look professionally done, the whole world. All these color revolutions and little incursions of militaries, they're just so fake and phony.
Well, yeah, listen to
but
Brandon's
most people
show.
don't recognize it like we do.
Listen to Brandon's
Exactly.
show. That's what he
Exactly.
talks about a lot, is the color revolutions and
Yes.
how we've been orchestrating all this shit.
And once you look
absolutely.
at it from our point of view, they're obvious right from the start.
Well, the rest of the world sees it, obviously.
Right.
They see
And here's
it.
the thing.
It's just the
People
majority
don't
of
see it
our
right here.
They
You know
aren't
what I'm
listening
saying?
to
That was
our
my whole thing.
newscast either.
Pardon me? Sorry.
They aren't listening to our news media
What,
either,
and
and
being
that's why they
brainwashed?
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Being told what to believe and how not to see the man behind the curtain.
Right. And just not mentioning vital facts about things.
Right, and these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Exactly. If you were ever going to burn your business down and file an insurance claim in Ferguson, today'd be the day to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a cockroach
It ain't
problem?
going to be just black dudes stealing big screen TVs. It's going to be people burning down their own buildings. It's going to be, look, man, they've got all the makings for just a free-for-all for a few days.
Do you
there.
know what, though? Someone actually was talking about this, and I think it was Hal a couple weeks ago, but he's absolutely right. And I mentioned this to my husband in sitting at the dinner table going through the newest, homeowners policy or whatever. Do you know they actually list acts of terrorism, riots, radiation? None of that's covered, and it's enumerated in your policy now. Did you know that?
That's funny.
Yeah,
that they
I
brought
learned that
in.
from Larry Silverstein.
Acts of what did it say? Yeah, Larry Silverstein. Exactly. They probably after Larry they got rid of acts of terrorism.
Yeah,
covered.
exactly. Yeah,
But it even says like civil unrest. I mean, it lists all these things. I'm like, can you even? And not only in your homeowners, but try reading your new auto policy. It says it in there too.
No way.
Yes way.
Oh, mine's coming up.
Yeah, read it. It lists radiation. I was like, wow, after all those radioactive cars they were shipping out of Japan, they showed up in Russia and they turned them back.
For all you gamers out there, the new Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Blackwater is Atlas Corporation. I mean, Blackwater is going to be private government soon. They already have a private Navy and a private Air Force. Private Army.
Well, there's quite a number of groups like that, JJ, that beyond Blackwater, that ISIS group that we originally found. Do you guys remember that? Like when ISIS, they're all contract for hire, but they're all former military.
Mercenaries or,
mercs
or
for hire.
Mercenaries.
That's what happens, though. You have the haves and the have-nots, and when you come back from service, G. Michael had talked about that when they did their Veterans Day show. He had one of the guys from the Wounded Warrior Project on, who's also an author, as his guest, and G. Michael, I think, had been a SEAL, he said. And, they looked at this very issue, coming back after you've been bamboozled and go overseas with all the visions of travel and money and paying for college in your head. Then you come back and you're abandoned by the medical system. I mean, look at what we've seen by the veterans scandal.
They do everything in their power to deny you any kind of benefits.
Well, benefits, and they tested shit on you galore. How much have we looked at all this stuff with DARPA and whatever? This technology is not, to fix PTSD or to give you a new limb or whatever because they're worried about you. They're using you as the guinea pig to test all their mad science gone mad. And I mean, I've talked about my friend, the anthrax vaccines in the very first Gulf War. I mean, all those women, all the girls, 18 years old that graduated with me, that went into the service, that ended up in that first Gulf War, all got that shot. None of them could have kids.
Got it twice.
Yeah, they all got sick from it.
Everybody, yeah.
And here's the thing. So all these veterans come back, and there are those who had a bad time and those who had a good time and who got to know people or whatever managed to make it. It's kind of like going to jail, right, JJ? You have to make your way. And if you come back, there's no jobs. I mean, there were statistics about how many veterans come back and end up getting divorced. There was like this
or on the street begging for money.
Or then because of all their psychological issues, their marriage falls apart, and then the judge deems them a threat because of their PTSD and takes away their kids, and no one will hire them because of their PTSD, and so now they can't even get a job, and the only jobs that there are in the military industrial complex, are in the security, the backwater, or the police, yes, or the Blackwater type establishments that are doing private security for top secret clearance or whatever. And so I'm telling you, we are actually, you're absolutely right, JJ, that there's this whole shadow government that's forming, but it's of our own making.
I know. This is what I'd be interested to know, because this has been brewing for a couple of months down in Ferguson. I would like to know who has been running around Ferguson buying up property and in the last 2 months, because I'll bet you there's a few people, and I'll bet you some
it's probably the same people
to Jesse
in
Jackson.
Benton Harbor, Michigan stuff.
You know what I mean? Knowing that there's a riot brewing, buying up as much property as you possibly can for pennies on the dollar so you can get, and that's just the kind
what
of
they
thing
did here
that
in
if I found
California.
out Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton did would not surprise me.
That's right.
You look at George Soros and buying up all that flooded farmland, and then the next year, the Army Corps of Engineers comes up and shores it all up and fixes
Well, look at Pelosi and her husband and his brother buying all this farmland for pennies on the dollar that are going
Harry Reid in
belly up.
Utah, same
So
shit.
what, they're going to sell it all to the fracking companies? Probably.
Yeah.
Well, after they have it, they'll bring the rain back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Makes me freaking sick.
Hey, let's finish this up here. So this is in regards to the federal investigation into Wilson. It says even after the grand jury decision not to indict Wilson, the 28-year-old police officer at the center of the outcry, his fate could still hang on a Justice Department investigation. his police officer licensing, and a potential civil lawsuit. So that's what you guys were saying. The Justice Department investigation carries with it the most serious consequences. The federal agency could bring charges against Wilson for violating Brown's civil rights, but such charges are rare, and more than 2 years into the investigation of the death of another unarmed black teen, which was Trayvon Martin, the department has yet to come to a decision on whether or not to bring charges against George Zimmerman, the man who killed him. And, you know, if you notice, too, everyone talked about... see, now I don't even remember his name. The first guy, Rodney King. But a lot of people did not mention Trayvon Martin. And to tell you the truth, I actually forgot all about that case.
Well, it's nothing like dragging this stuff on in, like, the federal courts now.
Right, but
well,
also...
they fade away, though, too. People forget about them, and they don't follow up on them.
Right.
So.
Well, you know, here's the other thing. Remember that Brown's parents went to the UN last week and filed that torture document. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but they had a whole, it was like a 2 or 3 week conference on international, you know, human rights violations.
And the UN said they were going to investigate it.
Yeah, it said that they had to investigate it. They had to investigate it because it had been brought to their attention. And there were federal agents there, you know, for the United States that were testifying in the place of, you know, our government. They were government officials, and she even said that they are required now to launch an investigation. So, and I don't believe it was the Justice Department, though. I think this is beyond the Justice Department because this has now been called on as international.
Right.
This ain't over by a long shot.
Here we preach torture, and here we have cops torturing people every single day.
Right.
This ain't over by a long shot.
And remember, there's also that whole torture expose going on over the Bush administration.
Mm-hmm.
That people were getting bitch slapped for opening their mouths over.
Yeah.
And you know what? Guess what? It might have even have been Hagel, guys.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it could be.
I think it was Hagel that gave them like the go-ahead for the investigation. Or was it Panetta? It was one of them. All right, guess what? We got 30 seconds left. I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out today. JJ, it was awesome to have you on. You should come on more often, especially if things are slowing down. Feel free to come on anytime in the morning. Thanks, Vince, for calling in. Wendy, Lady Pitbull.
Thank you.
Dodie. That was great. All the listeners out there, that was awesome, too, hanging out in chat. We were all watching live streams last night. So I wish more people would have called in, though. I would have liked to hear your opinion. Stick around tonight. It is Tuesday. We have Mr. Kevin Blanche live from Ferguson next.
Wow.
He said he was going to be there, or he had somebody going there, but I think he was going. So, all right, stick around for Kevin. We got live radio tonight. Be a great night. All right, guys, everyone take care. We're talking tomorrow.